Hello and welcome to the two-man power trip of wrestling. I'm your host, JP John Paz. With me today, very special guest, former WCW Tag Team Champion, TV Champion, Cruiserweight Champion. He is, of course, the Das Wonderkind himself, Mr. Alex Wright. Alex, how you doing today?
Achtung, Achtung! This is Alex Wright. I'm fine. I'm great here in Germany. How are you?
Very good, very good. What's going on in your world? What are you up to?
Well, maybe a few fans know that I have my own wrestling promotion over here in Germany, New European Championship Wrestling, and also my wrestling school, the Right Stuff. So I'm pretty busy.
What's going on with the wrestling school? I mean, it had like a lot of students. You've been keeping busy with it?
Yeah, I've had my school here for now 17 years,
Wow.
and I'm fully booked a year and a half ahead of the time. And there's a lot of good talents coming, so it's a lot of fun, training young people, giving them advice and helping them to start in the business. You know,
What's
one
your
one
like?
one one former student you probably know, Fabian Eichner from
Yeah.
Imperium. That's a
Yep.
student of mine. Yes.
Oh, nice. Awesome. What's like your philosophy with some of the training? What are your thoughts? Like WCW Power Plant back in the day was like basically break the guys. Well, what's your kind of philosophy on it?
Well, that's not mine. Um, the best thing for a student is the passion he has for the sport and the motivation. And if you break the guy, I think it's not how you say it, it's not good for him, especially down the road when he's developing his character and stuff like that. My opinion, his passion and his motivation is the best thing for training. So I try to motivate my guys and help him finding their way into the sport through my professional training.
And what do you think about like a guy like Fabian, for instance, who made it to WB, made it to Imperium, made it to the Big Ten? What do you think about that? Kind of says about your training and kind of your program.
Well, he did very good so far. I'm very proud of him. He's a pro. I teach him everything I know. I teach him the way that he's able to wrestle all over the world in any promotion and to earn his money. And he's not dependent on any other promotions. So if he's not happy in one promotion, he always is confident enough to go to a different promotion.
When
And
you
my
were,
my how you say that in English? I haven't talked English for a while. How you say it? Philosophy, is that correct?
yeah, yep,
Philosophy. Yeah,
yep.
is first you have to have respect from the sport. Then you have to respect your trainers, the veterans, your colleagues, and of course you have to respect the fan, because without fans stepping in the ring, there's no fun, and of course you don't make any money. So that's the most important thing. Yeah. And the other thing I always tell my students is how you train is how you fight. So always make it count when you are at the training at the gym, and always be aware that in that certain moment there's maybe 1,000 other guys or girls which train for the same dream.
True. I mean, my God, there's so many that can come through, but there's only so many spots, right? I mean, WB only has so many spots.
Yeah, you have to be ready when your chance comes around.
When you were coming up, right? Obviously, your dad, Steve Wright, legendary wrestler, just a big icon of wrestling. Was he wanting you to be in the business or not wanting you to be in the business?
Well, it was always my decision if I wanted to be or to wanted to become a wrestler. But since I grew up on the road, I traveled around with my dad. I lived in the caravan right beside the arena, the big arena, or the big how you say, it's like big tents in Germany. And the best playground for myself was always being in the ring, playing around. And I know my first few experiences in the ring, I was like maybe a year old, half a year old.
Wow.
Yeah, so I always was in the ring, and I always said to my dad when he has some spare time, "Hey, come on, let's go to the ring." And yeah, it never felt like training for me. You know, it always was like playing around in the ring. And at a certain age, I wanted to learn more, and yeah, and I never had the question in my mind if I ever gonna be a wrestler. It always was like, yeah, it was clear in my mind that I gonna be a wrestler one day and go to the States, which I really was one of my best times in my life. The States.
Oh yeah, I'll get to that one second. I'm just curious: is it pressure being Steve Wright's son when you get into business? Because some people think like, oh, you're the son of a wrestler; it's easy to get in. It might be more pressure actually, because you got to live up to it.
Well, there's pro and contras. The advantage is, of course, that you start out with having a name and you are most likely to get easier bookings. On the other hand, the expectation of the promoter and your future colleagues are very, very high. So you're not allowed to make that much mistakes when you're a rookie. I mean, you of course you do make mistakes, but they expect, since your dad was a great wrestler, and my dad had a really big name in that sport. Um, I have to live up to it somewhere. So, on one hand, it was good for me. On the other hand, it was a lot of pressure. I wanted to make my father proud, of course, and myself also. So, yeah, it was, like I said, advantage and disadvantage.
Yeah, I feel like it would be a lot of pressure as a rookie. It's like, man, you got to be good right out of the gate. You can't stink right out of the gate.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, uh, the in-ring stuff, that's easy. But having all the experience, like ring psychology and working with a crowd and all that stuff, that's the hard part where you need experience.
Did your dad train you mostly? Did he give you most of your training?
Yes, he was my trainer. A very, very good trainer, but a very hard trainer. If I said, I don't know, I can't do it, he just said, such a thing as you cannot do it. It's not possible. You have to do it. So I had to do it. I learned my backdrop in the backyard in at our house at home.
Wow, really?
Yeah, just stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, makes you
I
harder.
love it.
Yeah.
Now, before we get into the States, I was just curious. They have this new Vice documentary called Who Killed WCW. I was wondering if you saw any of that.
No, not yet,
Are you
but I'm
looking
very
forward?
curious.
Are
Yeah,
you
I'm
looking
very
forward?
curious about it. Yeah, but I have my own opinion on that. Anyway,
Well, oh, what is the who killed WCW?
well, most of the fans know what my opinion is, but I don't know if I should mention that too often.
If you think about it, with WCW, and obviously you wanting to be in the States, how did you kind of get a relationship with WCW? Like, and how did you start working in the States? Because you said it was like a dream you wanted to.
Yeah, it was a very big dream because I was watching WCW on TV here over here in Germany, and of course I watched WWF at that time also, and I wanted to always be in the States. I did a lot of sports when I was young. I did like submission wrestling, amateur wrestling, competitive swimming and weightlifting, all that stuff. And also during this time, I also did train pro wrestling. And at the age of 16, I had my first professional match in Wuppertal, Germany. And I was one of the youngest in Europe and the youngest wrestler in Germany. So I got a lot of media attention and was invited to a lot of talk shows, radio shows, etc. And one show was very, very famous and very popular, Schreinermacher's Live. And I was invited to that show for the topic wrestling. And the two other guys which were invited was Johnny B. Bad and Sting. So I met those two guys there at the talk show, and also the PR manager, Alan Sharp. And they had during that time, they had a German tour going on. And the next step was in Munich, Germany. So Alan Sharp invited me to come to a show, and my dad, being a veteran in that sport, he said, "Hey, listen, kid, you never know what's going to happen. Take your gear with you." Of course, I did, and you know, I had, I was on the right spot, right time. Ric Flair at that time, the booker, he came up to me and said, "Hey, listen, kid, do you have your gear? Because one of our guys is hurt." I said, "Oh yeah, good." And then I had my first match in Munich with WCW against Paul Roma, which was a really good match. And yeah, Rick came up to me and said, "Hey, listen, do you wanna finish the tour with us?" So I had several days with WCW on tour, and apparently they liked what they saw. And Eric Bischoff was the last night there, and Ric Flair, and they came up to me and said, "Hey, listen, we want to offer you a contract. Do you want to come to the States?" And I had to decide in 1 week if I take that chance, and of course I did. And I moved at the age of 18 to the US by myself.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's got to be a little scary, a little bit of a culture shock, right? I mean, moving all the way here and by yourself, of all things.
Well, yeah, it was not easy. Yeah, being that young, I mean, I was more experienced than other guys in that age because I traveled on the road and met a lot of people and traveled a lot of countries. But I still was young. In a lot of things, I was inexperienced, and of course, I was a foreigner and German. That's not very good at
Yeah.
that time.
Yep.
And yeah, my colleagues at that time, I think the youngest colleague I had was Bagwell. He was like in his mid 20s, I think. All the other ones were like late 20s or mid 30s or something like that, or older. So it was hard at the time, finding the connection to the other wrestlers and, getting the respect. And um, yeah, I had to show them that I have the passion for the sport, and I was eager to learn, and was coachable still and stuff like that. So, but it was a hard time, but a good experience in my life.
So you're 18. Are you by yourself, or do you travel with like some Bagwell, or do you travel with some of the other guys, or you just kind of do everything by yourself?
Oh well, at the beginning, they put me down in the power plant, and because I figured they had no spot on TV for me at that time. And I was down there and I busting my ass and stuff like that, and but they didn't pay me the first few months. I don't know why. Maybe some foreign issues or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, I had a lot of how you say I lost a lot of money, and I started working in jobs like a bouncer and stuff like that, and still doing the power plant thing. And after about 6 months, I lost so much money. I said
Hmm.
I can't do that anymore. I went to the CNN office without having an appointment. Just went right into the office from Eric Bischoff and said, "Hey, listen, Eric, I'm very grateful that you gave me the contract, but without money, I can go back to Germany losing money over there also." And that was the moment where they start paying me and putting me on the road and on TV. And the first 9 months on the road was very hard because you have double expenses. You have the on the road expense and at home the expenses. And just to save some money, I a lot of times slept on the floor from my colleagues in the hotel room and just ate one time and stuff like that. Which a lot of guys do. At the beginning of their start in the business. And yeah, then it's down the road. It was getting better and better and better, and I made more money, and yeah, it was good at the end. Like I said, it was the best time of my life over in the States, and I'm still grateful to this day for getting a job with WCW. I mean, that's unbelievable, especially in that time, where wrestling was really big, and I had the chance to travel the world, had the chance to wrestle great names, learn a lot, meet a lot of people, live in a great country. I mean, I really miss the States and its people. I mean, it's really a big part in my heart, the States. And yeah, it was just a great time over there.
When you first came in, like, were you shocked, like, of how different it was? Like you said, sleeping on the floor, eating once a day. Were you shocked, like, man, this is not what I thought that this was going to be? I work for WCW, like the second biggest company in the world.
No, that was what I expected. I was right at the beginning of my career, and I was a rookie, and I never did the sport because of the money. Okay, it's a lifestyle being a pro wrestler. You live it 24/7, and I just like being in the ring, performing in front of a crowd, make the crowd happy, be competitive with other colleagues, and traveling the world and that stuff. That's being a wrestler. The money is a nice side effect, and the fame. But I would have been a wrestler also if I wouldn't be that famous. I would have. I already, before I went to WCW, I already had a 1-year contract with CWA signed over here in Germany. So I would have been a wrestler anyway. No. But like I said, I'm really grateful to Ric Flair and especially to Eric Bischoff that they gave me the chance and being over in the States.
When you like look back at it and you're right down at the power plant, did you like the power plant at all? Just like when you first came in, or like I kind of said before, maybe a little bit of a reputation of trying to break some guys.
Yeah, that's true. It was very tough over there, and they tried to do that with me also, but yeah, they couldn't.
Hmm.
No, I try to show them my respect, and I really try to do everything they ask me to. But the most stuff I already knew from my dad. I mean, I had matches in Germany also, so I guess it was just like a parking space waiting for the moment they put me on TV. But it was a great place. Like there were, especially later on, they had a lot of rings over there. You can practice a lot of moves and stuff like that. All the other students down there were really good kids and good guys, and they worked hard and they were believing in their dream. Very sad that many didn't make it. And Buddy Lee Parker, great guy. He he was a very tough guy, but a really great guy. He really loved the sport and he had a passion for the sport. Yeah, so I learned the American style over there in the power plant, which was very important for me. You know, um, and learning interviews and promos and stuff like that. That's which I had a lot of deficits on. I wasn't that good in promos and stuff like that.
Do you or were you the youngest signed WCW? I would imagine, right? Because you're only 18. You're probably the youngest ever, right? As far as signed.
I think so. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty amazing. Just even WWF. I know Rene Dupree was young, and I know Teddy Hart was young, but you've got to be up there as one of the youngest signed talent to a major company.
Yeah. Yeah. Could be yes. But it makes no difference how young you are. I mean, you're signed as a pro, you have to act like a pro, and you have the same job as a pro like everybody else. So it doesn't mean
True.
anything.
Yep, true. So when do they start really giving you like the Das Wunderkind gimmick, and where does that come from? Because I love that gimmick.
Well, that's Wonderkind. Well, since I was probably so young, uh, funny thing, my dad was a Wonder Boy in the UK when he started. Was 15. I started with 16. Um, so I figured it was something special in the name Das Wunderkind, which was very very interesting for maybe the fan. And yeah, then the Alex Wright gimmick, the dancing and stuff like that came later. You know, um, the dancing. I started going out to dance clubs over here in Germany was about age 15, and techno was very popular at that time here over here in Germany, especially in Europe anyway. And when I came to the States, it was something different and new. And one day I went out with some office guys to a dance club and I started doing that dance. And they said, "Hey, listen, what are you doing there? That's different." And I thought, yeah, well, that's how I danced in Germany. And they said, "Hey, you have to do that in your entrance or in the ring, that's going to be special. And well, then I did it, and then they said I have to do it all the time. And there's it's the same thing, pro and contra. The advantage of the dance was that I was very unique and different to other wrestlers. So the fan, how you say, I was very recognized very early with my dancing, and till this day, people and fans over in the US know me still for around the world. So that kept my gimmick alive. And the other thing is, but a lot of hardcore fans, they never gave me a chance because of the dancing. They never looked behind the dancing about my athleticism, about my ring work and stuff like that. So it was one side good, one side bad.
I always thought it was great. It was like a great compliment because that gets you noticed, and then people start seeing you in the ring, and it's almost like, wow, this guy can really work. You know what I mean? Like I always thought that was great because sometimes fans are like, who is this guy? And they're like, oh my god, he dances. Like they immediately, like a
Right,
switch
right,
goes
right,
on.
right. Yeah, like I said, I had always a problem with the hardcore fans.
Yep.
The regular fan and the older people and the kids and the girls, they always liked me.
Do you have any say, like the leather jacket and stuff? Is like that all you, or do they tell you like, hey, this is what your look should be?
No, it's all me. It's all me. I that's the same jacket what I was wearing private. I mean, that's how I was walking around when I went to dance clubs. I had the bikers, the jeans, white top or whatever, t-shirt and jacket, a lot of jewelry, and yeah, that's how I looked. The more your gimmick is close to your real life, the better it works.
When you look at the music, right? I always loved the music. Very memorable. Even now, you can like hear it in your head. Did you like the theme song? Because it was very catchy.
Yeah, it was very catchy. I like the techno. It was a good beat, and like for a wrestler, it's very important to be different than everybody else. So everything I could do to be different, I did, or I was okay with. Like the music. I mean, it was totally different to everything else. So I enjoyed it, especially when I had the chance to dance with the Nitro Girls.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
I know. I used to always just love it. Even the head thing. The hand movements and stuff.
right, right, right.
You had it then. The crowd loved it for sure. I know Bobby Heenan was a big fan. It seemed like he seemed like he loved Das Wunderkind as well.
I hope so. Yeah. No, I got along with almost everybody backstage. So, no, Bobby, a great guy. Yeah.
When you like first came in, obviously Starcade '94 is kind of the big pay per view you were on, or the big show you were on. Pretty huge show. Hogan's in the main event. You
Mhm.
defeated Triple H, aka John Paul Levesque, on that show. What did you just think about Triple H? I know it's and people now he's in charge of WB, but back then he was kind of young in the business.
Well, he was kind of in the same spot like me. He wanted to have good matches. He wanted to prove himself to the office. Wanted to have great matches for the fans. And yeah, we were two young guys who just tried to yeah do the best and make their way. He was a great guy to work with. I always got along very good with him, and great talent.
I know the joke back in the day, people, the people online or some of the fans would say, Alex Wright taught Triple H how to wrestle, or that was like the old joke because it seemed like he was kind of learning his way, but you were so young, but it seemed like you were so advanced for your age. So that would always be the joke online, like Alex Wright taught Triple H how to wrestle.
Okay, I never heard about that. No,
Oh
no
yeah.
comment on that. No, no, he was very good.
Did you think that with obviously working him at this point, you can't possibly see like, okay, this guy wants to be in WWF or this guy wants to be in charge of the business. You don't see any of that, right? When it's just two guys wrestling on the road, kind of day to day stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, politics, that wasn't my thing. I was young and I didn't make my mind up about politics. I just wanted to be in the ring and I just wanted to have good matches. And it didn't matter to me if it was on a house show or a pay-per-view or Nitro. I just wanted to have, good matches so I can, satisfy the fan and the promoter and myself. That was the
When
main
you
thing.
when you're kind of coming up, right, and wrestling, and I know you're quote unquote young, but not really, but young maybe in states terms, they did make you wrestle beautiful Bobby Eaton a lot, who obviously is one of the greatest of all times. Was that
Yes.
something that was like almost like they put you under the learning tree because you wrestled him a lot, right?
Yeah, at the beginning. And that was very, very good because I learned a lot from Bobby. And he was such a nice guy, very calm guy. And I'm really thankful they put me with him in the ring. Yeah, that was very good. That was a good, coming in the locker room, working with that guy, experienced guy. And he's really funny also. I felt very comfortable working him and very safe working him.
He's one of those guys I feel like maybe he just doesn't get his just due. He was so good, maybe too smooth at certain points. I know here in 94, 95-ish, he's kind of winding it down. Obviously, his prime is the 80s, but I feel like almost people forget how good he was.
Definitely. Definitely. Yeah, great mind. I mean, it was so easy working with him in the ring, and it was fun, and that's what it should be, no pressure. It was just fun. No, yeah, definitely. But that happens to a lot of guys in the business, the change from generation. They the new generation forgets about the older wrestlers, which paved the way for the other wrestlers.
Yep, for sure.
If,
And I felt like,
if I'm out of the camera, you let me know, right? Because I can't see
yeah,
myself. Yeah.
yeah, you're
Yes.
in. You're in perfectly. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And it feels like at this point too, like they're like you'll go 15-minute time limit draw maybe with Eaton or 15-minute time limit draw with Arn Anderson. Like they kept you pretty strong in the beginning. Did you like that? Because you're working veterans, you're learning, I guess, the American style, but they're also keeping you strong on TV for sure.
Yeah, I mean I think till 1995 I didn't lost a match. I mean they really pushed me very, very
Yeah.
good. And yeah, that again I was very, very thankful for that. And I always try to give my best, and especially working with guys like Arn and Rick and Bobby and those guys, going toe to toe for 15, 20 minutes. That was unbelievable experience for me. I mean, really learning, especially the ring psychology, working the crowd and stuff like that. Yeah, that's unbelievable. Yeah.
Kind of on the flip side, did you have any problems from some of the veterans that maybe didn't want to work with you or didn't want a job to you? For instance, I know there's like that story about Paul Roma didn't really want to lose to you, so he did lose, but he had a stink about it. Like, was there ever any issues like, oh, this guy's too young, or like any problem from veterans?
Well, like I said before, the first 9 months it was very hard to get connected with all the other guys in the locker room. The first guy who really helped me out and one of my best friends in the world is Johnny Bad or Mark Marrow. I mean, he really helped me out. I mean, I wasn't even able to rent a car because I was so young.
Right.
So, I always had to ask somebody, hey, listen, can you give me a ride? And Mark helped me out a lot, and DDP helped me out a lot, and Bagwell and Sting and Scotty Riggs, they really helped me a lot in the beginning. Yeah. So yeah, thank you very much, guys. I mean,
That's
really,
all.
because if you're 18 and the office sends you a ticket, but you don't know how to travel from the airport 4 hours to the venue, then you have a problem.
Yep.
So that was hard. No, at the beginning was hard to get connected, but yeah, after the 9 months, I really got along with everybody, and I traveled with a lot of different people: Chavo Guerrero, Eddie Guerrero, Dean, Disco Inferno, Billy Kidman. Yeah, I traveled with a lot of guys.
I feel like your first like maybe loss, right, was basically maybe mid 95 or so, and it was to Arn, right? I think, right? Because it felt like you didn't really lose too much, hardly
Not
ever,
really.
really.
No, not really. Yeah, yeah, it was fun. Yeah. supposed to be like I should have the next TV champion at that.
Alex, are you still there? Okay, there you are.
I'm
You were
still there.
saying Arn, you supposed to be the next TV champ?
Hold on for a sec. I have to put. Hold on for a sec, please.
Yep, no problem.
So maybe you can cut that out.
Yes.
Or,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. So you were
Especially
saying Arn.
the private
Oh, yeah.
picture which you had. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I was supposed to be the next TV champion at that time, but then Hogan came in and renegade his friend, so plans were changed.
Did you get mad, or was it more like one of the things you're so used to the business, you just kind of go with the flow?
Well, I wasn't mad. I was just disappointed. You know, I was a young guy, and I was working to that moment like 2 years really hard. I busted my ass in the gym. I did everything which they asked me to do. I learned everything. I tried to have good matches and stuff like that. And it was always like they told you this is going to be happening if you do that. And it was like the last half year before the plan changed. It was like certain that it's going to be happening. And, I was kind of happy because I would have been the youngest TV title holder ever. So I was kind of, disappointed and sad. Yeah.
Did that happen a lot, like as far as like Hogan coming in and kind of poking his head in where maybe he shouldn't?
Well, I don't know if it was Hogan's idea. I couldn't, say that. I mean, the business is like the business is, that happened to me later on with the Berlin gimmick and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think it was a good learning experience that the business works that way. And I wouldn't, I will, oh man, English is so hard if you haven't talked for a while. I'm always missing the words with what I want to say. Yeah, I don't think it was Hogan's decision. I mean, you never know if Eric wanted to, do him a favor, or if Hogan asked Eric, "Hey, do that." It doesn't matter. I didn't get the title, but like I said, it's not about the title. It's not about the money. It's really about being a wrestler, and that's what I learned at that moment. Again, it's about, because if you always focus on how much does that guy earn per year and how much does that guy earn and how many titles has that guy, of course it's nice to have a title, but it's sports entertainment. Somebody helped you to get the title, and somebody told you, okay, you're gonna get the title. It's not real. So
Yep.
sport entertainment, and if you realize that, the business is much easier and much more fun.
When you look at it too, the Arn finish, I know you end up instead of beating Arn, you end up losing, but the finish, right? He pretends to punch you, you duck, he hits you with the DDT. I always see that online. That's
Great.
such a great finish.
Yes, so really great. I mean, that hit me with surprise. Yeah, like that. Oh, it was very good. I mean, Arn, unbelievable guy. Yeah, great. Yeah, I really enjoyed working him, especially, you know, we just went out there and just had a match without talking.
Oh, all called in the ring and not no talking. That's
Yeah.
old school. You don't see that anymore.
Yeah. No, well, I teach my students like that because of course you have to talk about high risk stuff and certain spots, but most of it should be improvised. And if you have a good repertoire, you can do that, because then you really can adjust in any moment of the match to the needs of the crowd. Because if you plan A to Z everything beforehand, you cannot adapt.
Yep.
I mean, a Friday crowd is different to a Saturday crowd. German crowd is different to American crowd, and there's a lot of differences. And if you plan that like that, plus you don't have any fun. It's just learning, like, I don't know, in school paper. So it wouldn't be fun. So the best thing is to do it old school and call it in a ring. Yeah, what's just working.
It looks so choreographed when they're going over spots. You know what I mean? It's like they make it, especially now. It's just too obvious of kind of where it's going. I don't like.
Yeah, it's like ballet dancing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's not really wrestling. Yeah, it's weird.
yeah, yeah. It's not that authentic. Yeah,
And I've even seen spots where they missed the spot. They go back and it's the same spot. They'll go and they'll do it again and then can pick up where they left. Like they can't
well,
remember
yeah,
where they.
well, yeah, I know. In my opinion, if it's live, you should not do that, because then it's obvious to everybody and it kills the moment for the crowd
Yeah.
anyway. And but if it's like a TV taping, sometimes the office said to us, okay, do this spot over, we cut it out and the fuck up, and then
Yep.
the match is good. Depends if it's live or taped show.
So, what did you think about working flying Brian Pillman? Just wanted to get your thoughts on Pillman.
He was a crazy guy, crazy guy, and unbelievable talent. Really, very sad that he had to go that early.
So
I mean,
not just
I was with him in Japan also, for New Japan.
yeah.
Yeah. So no, like I said, I was the rookie in WCW, and I was the guy who learned the most. Every time I stepped in was a veteran, and the same deal was with Brian. I learned a lot of things there, or with Eddie and stuff like that. I mean, good memories.
So he really was a loose cannon, Brian Pillman. He really was a little crazy.
Yes, definitely is.
Not
Fun
just a
guy, but
gimmick.
crazy. No, 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 that wasn't a gimmick. No, he was like exactly like that.
When you start getting like a major push, obviously, a few years in and really start getting the titles, like we mentioned before, should have been TV champ, didn't happen. When you do win, and you do win the cruiserweight title, right? You beat Chris Jericho. Do you feel like you're getting some momentum? Because the cruiserweight division was awesome back in the day for W. I mean, it was like the best of the best were in the cruiserweight division.
Yeah, I really had high hopes, um, because, like you said, cruiserweight title was a very prestigious title, and working with all the guys like Dean Malenko, Eddie Guerrero, Chavo, Jericho, all the Mexicans, Rey Mysterio. No, yeah, I felt that the office gave me like a, how you say, um, a clap on the shoulder and said, "Okay, you deserve it. We were going to give it to you," and that was nice. But like I said, at that moment, I wasn't so into, oh, I need this belt, and because if you get the belt, it's really nice, because it says that the company is happy with you and your work, and you represent the company and stuff like that. But on the other hand, there are so many factors why you maybe do not get the belt. So if you always think about it, you just get depressed and stuff like that. And I wanted to enjoy my life being a wrestler and living really a happy life. So I just said, okay, if it's happening, good. If it's not happening, that's fine with me, as long as you get paid enough make to pay your bills and stuff like that.
Does it change anything being cruiserweight champion or being a champion? Does that change anything for you?
No, not really. It shouldn't change anything for anybody. I mean, all the guys in the business who gets a big head, they're all stupid in my eyes, in my opinion. No, it doesn't change nothing. It's just like I said before, it means that the office is happy with your work and they trust you, and they that you are the face of the company. That's good. But on the other hand, it's sports entertainment. You shouldn't act differently. You should be the same guy like you were before. And the only thing which really changed is that I had to plan in 40 minutes longer at the airport because the beeping, and then you had to get out the belts, and the belts were, of course, which heavy, and then fans came up, and you had to sign and stuff like that, which was fun, but that's the only thing which really changed there.
Were you expecting to be cruiserweight champion longer? Because I think it only lasted like a month or so. It's like, were you expecting it, or like you kind of said, it doesn't really matter.
Well, like I said before, I wasn't into that politics stuff. At that time, I wasn't that much of a businessman. I was an athlete. I just wanted to have matches, and that's it. Um, I really can't recall if I was hoping to hold it longer, probably, but it wasn't a goal for me. Like I said, you can be a fan favorite without having a belt. Just having good matches, great matches, and people like you and love you for what you're doing. Then,
I felt
I mean,
like you were
if
cruiser.
you look in the past of the business, there were so many guys which held the belt, and they were the shits. So people, and then
No doubt.
the people say they were the shits, the fans. So you don't have to have a belt to be fan favorite in the heart of the fans.
Very true. It's funny because, like, okay, you lose your cruiserweight champ or in cruiserweight, but then right after that, you win the TV title from Ultimo Dragon. So it was interesting. It was like they took one title off of you to give you another title. Was that like a shocker to you at all?
No, actually, I was happy.
Oh,
I
okay.
was, yeah, but like I said, that was a very good time for me because the office gave me the belts, and I really appreciate it because having a belt is nice, and especially is uh, good for your gimmick having belts.
Definitely. And you and Ultimo Dragon had some great matches too. You and Ultimo definitely had some good ones. You and Ultimo definitely had some good matches. I don't know if you remember those, but you guys had some real good ones, especially at the pay-per-view Fall Brawl. Long match too.
Yeah, long, very long match. Yeah, um, yeah. He had a different style, but I was used to it wrestling in New Japan. That he was, you know, he had a tougher style, like in his kicks and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed working him. Uh, he, yeah, he was very heavy to lift also.
Really, even though it's a little guy, he would.
Yeah, he was still heavy guy, But it's the style what they work in Japan and stuff like that. So that's fine with me. No, I had fun.
I feel like they really had a lot of faith in you because they would give you a lot of pay-per-view matches, but not short matches. They'd give you, 10, 11, sometimes 18, 19
Yeah,
minutes. I mean, they give you a lot of time.
yeah, they gave me a lot of time, and they put me also always with all the new guys in the company. I had to wrestle them the first. Like Jericho, he was the first I wrestled when he came in, and Sabu, I was wrestling him the first, and
Yep.
many other guys. Yeah. Well, they always said, "Hey, listen, kid, you have so much time ahead of you, but in of course it was true, but you never know when a wrestler decides to stop his career. So at the end, it's always better to get everything in time,
Yep.
because like when I was Berlin right before, um, was it? Oh no, at the end of Alex Wright, I had a big injury where I had a bleeding in my head, and I was blind. So, and I was like 22 at that age.
Well, how did that happen? What happened?
Well, and that was a time when I was when Deborah McMichael was on my side as a manager, and I supposed to get the U.S. title. Same deal like was the TV title, youngest guy ever, and I definitely wanted that title because like I said before, having a title is nice. And if they say, well, you get it, of course I would take it. And I wanted to show them that I was eager about it. And anyway, I had a couple concussions, and I kept wrestling because I did not want to lose that, option getting that title. Especially in TV business, it's very hard because if you too long injured on the side, then they just replace you with somebody else. And I didn't, I thought to myself, well, I just got married. I just bought a house. I have to make sure my career goes better. And I kept wrestling anyway. And on that day, I had a lot of headaches, and I was like a little bit dizzy and stuff like that. And I didn't tell anybody about it. And then I wrestled a match on Nitro. The day before, I had a pay-per-view, I think. I wrestled Nitro, I had a match, and during the match, I received a enzogiri kick to the back of my head. And then, because my brain pressure was already higher than normal because of the previous concussions, something busted. And while I was wrestling, I realized how my vision went away. And I continued the match, and I finished the match. And on my way back through the curtain, I was totally blind. And
Wow.
then they took me to the hospital, of course. And the doctors told me, yeah, you have bleeding, and we have to do surgery and stuff like that. And if I want to call somebody, and like I said, I just got married 2 days before, and I called it was the hardest call of my life, or one of my hardest, when I called my wife and said, hey, listen, I'm blind. I don't know how we're gonna manage our life from now on. Yeah, that was tough. Yeah,
Man, that is scary as hell. What was her reaction? I mean, she probably freaked out as well. Jeez.
yeah, she was shocked. She was crying, and you know, I mean, she couldn't do anything. I was in Saginaw, and she was in Atlanta, so she took a flight and came to me in the hospital. Yeah, but I was lucky. Since I was so young, my body absorbed the blood. Then I did some tests where they pushed some tube through my artery to my brain and stuff like that. And I had to lay still a week. And after the week, when I got up, I hardly could walk. My wife, carried me to the shower and stuff like that. And then I went home to Atlanta, and I had to lay in a dark room for a month without moving a lot around. But the hardest part was getting back the confidence in yourself, and confidence in your head, that it is able to compensate the bumps which you take in the match and stuff like that. So after a while, I started working out in my own home in the dining room. It was, in Georgia, the houses are wooden built. I took a bump, and I was sick for about an hour and 2 hours or whatever. Then I took another bump, get used to it all again. Yeah, and then I went to the gym, and then once that got better, I went down to the power plant, and then I wanted to go back in the ring, and WCW said no, we won't
Really?
let you anymore. Yeah, because they were afraid I'm gonna die. So I was
See,
running to a lot of doctors, and they didn't want to let me in the ring. And I said, listen, wrestling is my life. I do not know anything else. It's in my blood. I need wrestling, or I'm gonna die anyway. So I found a doctor which said that's okay. I can go back to in the ring, and then WCW said, okay, we're gonna send you some paperwork, and they sent me like that much paper, and on every side it said, okay, you can die when you step in the ring. It's your own fault, etc., etc., etc. So I had to sign everything. I didn't even read everything. I just signed it, and then I went back to the ring. And from that moment on, I wrestled many, many years without having problems. I
Did you
understand so I understand why WCW hesitated to bring me back in the ring. They just acted responsible. They wanted to make sure everything is fine before I step back in the ring.
did you think about possibly retiring, or that was never going to happen at that point?
No, not at that age. No. Mm-mm. Actually, I never officially retired anyway. After WWE bought WCW, um, I was burned out, mentally and physical from all the traveling and stuff like that, and I just wanted to take a break. And then I started my school over here because I thought there's a need of a professional wrestling school. And I had really fun doing that. And then I said, oh well, if I have a wrestling school, I put my build my own promotion. That works very well. And then I started my own promotion.
When you look back at Berlin, when you go back to Berlin, did you like that gimmick or did you not like that gimmick? Because I thought it was pretty cool. As far as Berlin, the Berlin gimmick, did you like that gimmick? I thought that was a pretty cool gimmick. I liked it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was definitely over with fans in the States. And it was something totally different, again, different than anything else. It's supposed to be, that was my idea, a gothic style, vampire old style gimmick. Um, I came up with all the by myself with my wife, and it would have been working very well if if either I would have kept that gimmick for myself and went with it to WWE, or to a different time, because the timing was very bad for me, because that was right at the time where Eric Bischoff was on his way out and Vince Russo came in, and Vince Russo did not wanted to take any ideas from Eric Bischoff. So that's why I was, stopped that gimmick, which was very sad because the crowd, they really liked it. It was very over. I got immense good crowd reactions as a heel, and it was a real heel. It wasn't the cool heel. I mean, it was a real heel.
Yep.
So that was fun.
Awesome look, cool theme song, cool
Yeah,
name. I thought it was an awesome gimmick. I liked it a lot.
yeah, I liked it a lot too. But that's the business again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you did you like the Boogie Nights? I know you and Disco had a feud before, then you're teaming as Dancing Fools, but then years later become the Boogie Nights. Excuse me. Did you like that gimmick, and or is that like too jokey?
Well, in my opinion, it was too jokey. Um, I really enjoyed being in a tag with Disco because he's a great, funny guy. I always had fun with him. And from fan perspective, I understand that it was very entertaining. But for me as a wrestler, I was brought up the old school way, and I never felt that comfortable in the Boogie Nights. But again, you sign as a pro wrestler and you do what they ask you to do. That's why you get paid. So
And towards the end of WCW, you guys go to Germany for the Millennium Final. That's pretty cool. Obviously, you were a huge part of that show. That had to be pretty cool to do that, as far as WCW in Germany.
yeah, I was very happy about that. I'm very excited coming into my home country But they planned for me an entertainment match with a German, very famous German comedian, and it was a good match, and it was entertaining, all that stuff. But I felt a little bit disappointed not being in a competitive match and showing my home crowd what I'm able to do. So, but anyway, being there was good.
Were you shocked as far as the end of WCW? I know we were kind of saying who killed WCW before and this, that, but were you shocked at the end of WCW? Because Vince comes in to buy it. To me, I was like floored. What the hell's going on here?
No, I wasn't shocked because that was going on months ahead. That the crowd was getting down, the ratings were getting down, the storylines were trashy. The whole product was booked for a WWE crowd at the end, or more or less, and not for a WCW crowd. There were very stupid orders for the guys backstage, how they had to work their matches and stuff like that. So that was clear that the end going to be soon there.
Did you ever want to go to WWE or no?
Actually, yes, that was always my goal. But like I said before, after being with WCW straight till the end, being sometimes on the road 350 days and 7 days, 7 matches a day, um, plus the backstage politic at the end, I was really mentally burned out and physically burned out. And I didn't, I didn't want to end up like some of my other colleagues. So I said, okay, I go back to Germany, back to the roots, see my family. I haven't seen them really many times in the last few years. And I just said, okay, I need a break. And, WWE approached me twice in that time. But in my opinion, if you can't give 100% for the promoter and you can't give 100% for the fans and for yourself, you shouldn't accept the offer because it wouldn't work. Yeah, you couldn't transport your passion to the fans then in some way. And I wanted to be honest, and I was very grateful for asking, but that was not the right time for Alex Wright to step in ring. So I had to do that decision. And of course, if you say twice no to WWE, if you want to go to W, I would have to go ask them, understandable. But it's a great company. I mean,
so as we hit the wind down, we head towards the finish here. What is next?
What is next? Okay.
Yeah, what's next for you?
Well, haven't been a long time in the States, and I really want to come to the States again. Maybe it's gonna be happening sooner than I think. At the moment, training my students at the school is the highest priority for me because there's a lot of young guys and girls at the school which are very talented, and they have the same dream like I had when I was young, and I feel very responsible to helping to make their dreams come true. So I have a very close connection with my students, and that's my priority. It's really fun training them. Plus, I have a few upcoming shows with my promotion, New European Championship Wrestling. I probably will start producing TV again, which I did before Corona hits everybody. I produce for Fightbox HD and Fight TV and stuff, and for German big YouTube channel. So there's a lot of things to come. I definitely going to be staying in the business, connected to the business in some sort of way.
Love that. Where can everybody find you and the promotion, and if they want to follow along and even see it as far as seeing some of the shows?
Well, we have a YouTube channel, New European Championship Wrestling. Also, we have a Vimeo channel with New European Championship Wrestling, and Facebook. It's Oh man, I don't know it on my. I think it's NEW dot wrestling one. I think we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and if guys wanna get training, you find me at prowrestlingschool.de. So I'm always looking for new talents.
Love that. How about you, social media and everything? Are you on social media yourself?
Yeah, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or X now. Yeah, but I'm not that often. I'm I don't know. It takes a lot of time to be on social media.
Yes, yes, I agree. Too much time.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a good thing, but it's hard to keep up with.
Absolutely, I agree. But Das Wonderkin, Alex Wright, thank you so much for all time today. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. It was a great interview. I really enjoyed it. Achtung, Achtung to all my Alex Wright fans. I'm going to see you soon in the States.